What's up, y'all? Back in the lab again. Going at it for a few hours here. Nothing but wiring today. Like, nothing but wiring. And when I say nothing but wiring, that's exactly what I mean. I hadn't touched a wrench. Well, one wrench, because I had to tighten down a nut a couple times here on this little junction box that I'm putting in. But other than that, it's been soldering, wiring, and all that. But I'll go ahead and show you what I'm doing here real quick, just to kind of see what's going on. Let me flip this camera around. Quick video, what's going on here. So actually, let me backtrack a little history on this motor. So I got this from actually a buddy of mine who well, now he's a buddy of mine, but I met through actually Facebook, but we actually know a lot of people in common, and he's from the same area I'm in. But he is a car guy, ended up pulling this motor out of a Tahoe that had a battery fire, and luckily nothing on the engine, not even the coils were burnt up, because these are the coils that I'm using here, and they all car started and everything, and it seems to be running great. The only thing that got a little charred was, if you can see in my previous video, I told you I wanted to get a new oil neck filler. You can see how it's bubbling there from the heat when it got burnt, so I got to get a new one of those. And some of the previous lines were kind of burnt, and this is one of the leftover pieces, is this little junction box here. You can see it's all charred and melted and everything. So I'm doing this as a test to see if I want to put this junction here, which is what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to just order another box, but it's still intact. It's just the surrounding area is just melted. So, but he saved the motor, pulled it out, and everything. I mean, I tore the engine down. Everything looked fine. Nothing from any of the accessories or anything like that were messed up. I think the harmonic balancer actually was pretty beat up from the heat. But other than that, everything made it out. So in any case, that's a little bit of history on this motor. Supposedly only has like 90K on it. The transmission only supposed to have like 10,000. It got rebuilt right before the battery fire, and then they ended up totaling the car. The insurance did, and so he pulled the motor out when he got it from the junkyard. So in any case, just wanted to show you what I'm doing here. So I bought this little side post extender. This battery came with the car, and it's actually fairly new, and I didn't want to go buy another battery, because I actually like the top post, but I'm not gonna go buy another battery and waste money. So I bought this little side terminal extender so I can put extra wires on it, and I plan to put a stereo in it too. So I probably it's probably a good idea to get that anyway. So I bought that at O'Reilly's. It was like $7. This is actually from the previous car, or from the Tahoe. So I just ran that out here to this little junction here, and then this is just an extra positive feed. I'll probably just keep it, wrap it up right now, since I don't need it. But the reason I made a junction is because I did a lot of rewiring and moving some wires around in the car. My alternator wire needed a hot lead, so I had to extend this wire here from the alternator wire and bring it out to here to the junction, so it has a hot lead coming from the battery. This power wire here actually went across and back over there, and it was kind of like in a weird area, and this connector here was like over here, and it just looked really weird. So I moved it over here, and I'll tuck all these wires away. But this power feed actually controls the high-speed fan, I figured out. So it still works if I don't have it plugged in, but it won't go on high. So got that junctioned in here, because this was originally on a different hot lead wire over there. So that's good there. So that's ran. These wires here are for my AC, and I'm gonna save those. So what I'll probably do is wrap them up and probably hide them over here in the corner when I get the hood and stuff back on, so you can't see them. These wires here are for my heat. So those are my tubes for my heat that control the vents and all that. What else did I do? So going over here, so you can see these wires here. So this is for my fuel pump, so I gotta rewire that. I'll probably do that. I'm waiting on a pigtail connector that's actually already came in. It's at my house, so I gotta do that. So I'll wire that up. Here I had some wires ran, and for like this was for my keyed 12-volt source for my injectors. This was, which was this one for? I think this one went to my purple wire for the starter, and this is the I don't know, I'm all mixed up, but anyways, purple wire and 12-volt positive keyed on. So what I did is these were really long. These were all in spools because I didn't know how much I needed when I made the harness. So I cut them all down and I spliced them or soldered them into my original harness. This was already done from previous, the previous owner. But as you can see here, spliced it in there. That's going to the alternator, and got another feed going into these purple wires here, and another one going to the starter as well. So what I decided to do is I really didn't want to go in to this fully with the wiring and eliminate all the old wires that I didn't need and this and that, you know, because like these here, I probably won't need this, but this was my 12-volt battery that turned on my HEI ignition for my old car, or my old engine for the 305 since I had a distributor. This wire here is for, I think this is the dummy light for the alternator for my previous motor, and that's another power source that connected to that. And these wires here are all like, this is another thing y'all should do. If y'all are doing a swap, label everything. It'll make your life so much easier. Like, label everything when you take the motor out. Unless you're really good at, you know, knowing what wire is what and whatever. But still, even at that, you know, when you're trying to figure out a wire, now you got to backtrack it and see what it is. And even if you know, you're like, oh, well, maybe this is it. Oh, okay, now this is it. But you backtracked it for a while. Just label it, y'all. So then that way you can, boom, tack, you know, here. See, it's already labeled so I can look at it. Oh, that was my my coolant temp sensor wire. So it just makes your life hella easier. And when you're going to put your harness and everything back in, you can just tap into, you know, wires, and you don't even have to, you know, backtrack. You can just look at the label. So these are all old wires, oil pressure sensor wire. This was actually for aftermarket cruise that the lady had on there, and I'm gonna try to keep that. And that's my coolant temp. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'll probably just delete those and take them out because I don't plan to ever put another 350 back in here unless for some weird reason. I don't know why I would do that, but I mean, now this motor basically has been rebuilt, you know, 0 miles on it. You know, so I don't ever foresee me putting a different motor in there unless something drastically happens. But other than that, yeah, that's all I've been doing. But it doesn't seem like much because I went over it kind of quick, but you know, cutting and soldering, and you know, I had to solder one wire, you know, a couple times in different places. I had to extend another wire, and then I used old wire because I didn't want to make another trip to the store, you know, just time consuming, y'all. But that's pretty much it. I'm probably just gonna leave my box here, my computer there. I think I was gonna mount my fuel fuse box here, possibly. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna put the inner fender in tomorrow, and then I'll see where it lays. But I was gonna try to hide the wires, but honestly, I really don't care if they show or not. I mean, there's wires everywhere. And I actually was gonna extend my harness so I could hide the wires. But then after I found out how much work it was and what I had into it, I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So I don't care, you know. And plus, you know, I have another car. I mean, it's covered up out there, but that's my 87 Regal T type turbo car. That car is freaking nice, and it's a built motor. You know, it gets up and goes. But I drive my cars, you know. I mean, like, I'll go to shows and whatnot. I actually don't like to show, just because I don't like sitting there all day. I just kind of like to go, come in, and leave. Or if there's like a cruising or something where you can drive in and leave, I'll do those. You know, these cars are made to be driven. I don't have a trailer queen. I've never had a trailer queen. You know, I've had some really, like, I had a 74 Nova that was super nice. And, I mean, everything was painted, powder coated, chromed out, sent off, done. And I drove that car everywhere. And, you know, I actually played professional football for a while, so the car sat in my mom's shop at her place. And, you know, it would sit for 6 months to a year, and every time I came back, drive it, something went wrong with it. You know, whether if it was like one time I had a leak out of the torque converter, the little seal around the torque converter went out. So that was gushing fluid. You know, just little things was happening like that just from the car sitting. But then when you drive them, you know, they run good, at least for the most part. So drive your cars, y'all. Drive the cars. And that's what I do. So, I mean, to each their own. You know, you want to build a trailer queen and trailer it around. That's up to you. You know, nothing against that. But you put all the work into it to make it look nice. Drive it. That's my philosophy. But in any case, that's my rant for the day. Other than that, shoot, I think I'm probably going to call it a day here. Probably finish up a few things and I'm out. Tomorrow I'll attack some more stuff, and it'll be nice to get out of here early and do something. So, but all right, y'all. I will be back tomorrow making another video, and we'll holla at y'all later. All right.